Hey everyone, this is your boy Jay, the I am on the Very Opinionated Show. We are here back live with my main man Rod T for the Quality Life podcast, and my main man Scratch Daddy, and the newcomer, Mr. Hagler, is in the house. Hey man, we are glad that y'all joining us back again on this show, the Very Opinionated Show. Come on and say something to the people, Scratch Daddy.
What's going on? How y'all doing out there?
Rod T.
Man, how everybody doing, man?
All right, Dr. Hagler.
Hey.
To the people. All right.
How's everybody doing?
All right, man. We are here. We're going to be talking about decent stuff tonight. And the topic for tonight is there bias in America? I mean, everybody can have their own, views on it and opinion. And of course, this is what the name of the show, the Very Opinionated Show. And I'm going to give you a brief, definition of the word bias, and it's kind of, give kind of different, give like some adjectives and some verbs and some noun. But the noun part of it said a particular tendency, trend, or inclination, feeling, or opinion, especially one that is preconceived or unreasoned. Unreasonable, hostile feeling or opinion about a social group, prejudice, obligate or diagonal line of direction, especially across a woven fabric. Now, follow me on this. It's a statistic, a systematic, as opposed to a random distortion or statistic as a result of sampling procedure. Now they give other, definition, of it. But come on, Rod T, and give me your definition of the word bias.
Wow, I just want to say, you got these hard hitting topics. That's why I watch your show every time. It's an honor to be on here with y'all, man. But
yeah,
definitely, I do believe that there is bias, and to keep it, on topic, somewhat, it's definitely a worldwide thing because I believe that's a human trait.
Right.
Where if somebody or something looks different from us we don't understand it, I think we automatically look at it sideways, or maybe, for lack of a better word, fear it, or try to understand it. But just personally, I do believe that America definitely is rooted in bias. Us as 4 Black men, I believe everybody can speak to that. But me personally, just the way I live my life, and people that know me or that know me kind of, but they don't really understand.
Right.
I get sideways, or question about certain decisions that I make. So yeah, I do believe it's a human characteristic in definitely in US, and it's a whole lot of different rabbit holes you can go to when speaking on that. But yeah, that's I do believe there is bias.
All right. Come on, Dr. Hagler.
Well,
give me your input on that.
Well, in terms of the definition, I think what bias is it's a means of judging a group or an individual because of the lack of, or the lack of a means or lack of association that they may have to be, as far as bias against. For example, you may be in the workplace of a certain nationality, but you have the same experience in your field.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
You may have a nationality that's kind of sticks together and kind of excludes you. You may be a different nationality, and there may, you may just get, say, hey, what, I think I'm gonna pick this person for this team for this project.
Right.
Even though,
right.
The person over here that you being biased against is equally qualified.
Yeah.
But because they're not of that trait that you're looking for, if it's nationality, so we're gonna leave you over there to the side. So that's what I think, with an example what bias is. And bias is definitely present in America today. It's just not as in your face as it was 40 years ago, but it is.
Right,
It's there.
right. You're so correct. Come on, Scratch Daddy.
Well, of course, America was built on that.
Mm.
But being that would be such a broad topic to tackle, I would like to look at it from an individual standpoint,
All right.
because we commit the act unconsciously on a daily basis. And when I say individual, I'm talking about, you could take a husband and a wife. If he's the breadwinner, of course, some things he's gonna want to do that he wouldn't allow his wife to do based on finances. I make the money, I make the decision. If it's children, if we have a son, he can have as many girlfriends as he wants. But if it's our daughter, I don't even want you leaving the house.
Wow.
So
Wow, that's good. That's a good point there, Doc.
yeah, we do it. Now the thing would be is, how did we get to that point or that perspective? Like, how did we develop the bias? Now that's something definitely that we should expound on, because in order for, if you have a sickness, first thing is establish that I am sick. Not saying that being biased is a sickness, but I'm just using that as an example.
All right.
So are we, human enough to admit that we are biased, and do we have the courage to do something about it?
Mm.
All right. Now, I just want to quickly say something about what Mr. Hagler said when it pertaining to your work atmosphere. Mr. Hagler, let me just ask you this. Do you think, is it because that they may be intimidated by you, in a sense of you may do a better job, and that's why they kind of exclude you out, in a sense, or they just being biased just because they prefer to work around, I would say, their own kind? Come on.
You know what? I think it's really the leading factor, I think, because it's the level of comfort that, they're around their own kind. They know what to expect. It is predictable. When you're dealing with somebody that you don't, if you, that you hadn't dealt with before, or you have a predetermined thought about them,
Right.
about that, group of people, you're like, you know what? I'm gonna stick with my own, who I understand, who I'm comfortable with. I'm not gonna cross that line, so we're gonna stay over here.
So
I
that
think
word,
yeah.
so I ain't mean to cut you off, but that word comfortable, yeah, I see that you. I think for me, the comfortable part kind of lead to the bias, but that just in one aspect for me. But now let me ask you this, Raw T. Let me ask you this. Okay, I know you grew up around us, and and I'm sure you probably even heard quite a few things. And one story I know you probably didn't heard. If you remember my Aunt Maureen, and she had like maybe 3 or 4 daughters and a son, but they was real kind of like fair skinned, and they stayed right down the street from us.
Daffro, right?
The Cubberson.
Oh, no.
Okay. She probably heard it. And I think I shared this. And the crazy part, growing up with them, and they are our first cousin. Now watch this, they are our first cousins. They didn't want to play with us because we was dark skinned than them.
Wow.
Now we talking about blood now.
Blood, yeah.
Now,
wow.
Well, watch this. This is the whole crazy part. Now, they didn't want to play with us because we were dark skinned, but as when the girls grew up, but you end up marrying dark skinned men. Now, come on, Ramon, you got to. I know you go. Come on, say something about that.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
is that a part of being biased in a sense, starting off? But then
that was
you got
early
caught.
portion. That was an early portion of their environment. I mean, they parents. I mean, that's one thing I need to know to take it any further. What complexion was the father and the mother?
Well, they were fair skinned.
Okay, that explains it all. They wanted to keep that fair skin thing going, and they tried to instill it in a not in a negative way, but instill it in their daughters. But as culture would have it, I mean,
now is that a part of being biased I mean, getting that bias from the outlook of America.
Yes, because think about it. As you said earlier, and it goes all the way back to when our people were held captive and forced to work against their will.
Mm.
The light skinned blacks were in the house, the dark skinned blacks were in the field. So it's still that same mentality.
Wow.
You
Come on,
know, and
come
then
on.
like
Go
Dr.
ahead.
Hagler, I wanted to expound on the point that he made with the different social classes at work. I mean, we even see it amongst our own people, and you're talking about it now
Right.
with the fair skin, dark skin.
Right.
You know, why that happens that way, I don't know. I mean, education really cures a lot of stuff because we talked about that all the time. People up north are less, and I know it's not. We're not talking about racism, but I'm just using it as a way of explaining myself. They're usually less racist because they're better educated. And they don't have the fear as Southerners do, and
Yeah, that
part of
is
that
true. That is true.
fear, the bias is a part of that fear. Well, I don't like this person because of their skin tone, and I'm gonna treat them differently because of that, because I'm being biased.
Wow. Wow. Come on, Raw T.
Mm. Um, I can I can just speak personally. I definitely feel more comfortable, like just to say on a panel like this where everybody look like me.
Right.
Black men. But to be fair, some of my best friends are from other races. When my grandma passed,
Right.
it was me, my mom, and like one of my best buddies.
Right. Right.
You met her. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
Latino do that. Like that's
Yep.
my boy. We talk all the time. So I guess
Right.
me personally, I do agree with what everybody said, that it's definitely ingrained in us. I think it's kind of taught to us. I think media and all of that plays a part in how we're looked at, and especially if we talk about dark skin versus light skin and black and white and
Correct.
black and whatever. But like I try to live my life as I think what Dr. King said. Instead of going by the color of their skin, the context of their character, because
Right.
it's been black people that did me dirty too, and so I mean, I try to look at at a person for who they are inside,
Right.
But to be fair though, I am looking at somebody race. Okay, well, this person on because quick story is just, I used to be out in the clubs a lot.
Right. Oh, I know. I already know.
Yeah. My
Right.
mom was like, "Now, Ryan, you gotta come out of there." I'm like, eventually. But when I was there, I met some Middle Eastern dudes from Palestine,
Right.
and they became some. I still talk to them dudes today. But one thing that always stand out to me when I met them, and like when we was around them, like in the initial times, he's like, "Man, you're not like the normal black person I see." And I was
What
like,
is the normal black person?
and I thought that, but
what is normal? Okay,
now he was giving me a compliment though. But if you look at how we're portrayed in rap videos or whatever, we thugs, we gangsters, and all that. You know what I mean? So that's what he was going off of. So he was really giving me a compliment. But I was like, wow.
You know what?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me get Dr. Hagler in here. He expound on what you just said. Because I'm trying to deal with this normal. What you mean normal?
Yeah.
I mean, I get, I ain't no one to be hanging out and with tattoos and hanging at the, I'm talking about like hanging on the corner. So I'm not okay. I get that part, but I'm normal. Come on now.
Yeah.
Like we just like I got a third eye hanging out. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Come on, Hagler. Come on, Dr. Hagler. Expound on what my nephew just said.
Well, it's funny you say that because I think in that regard, I think there are some people that look at us, as black, particularly black men, in what we involve ourselves in terms from a negativity standpoint, whether it's if we commit crimes, if we hang out on the corner,
Right.
or if we, we always, a lot of us are in prison, and so, and and I think it's from what Ryan was saying is it's because we are always, when we're portrayed in the public, it's most of the time is in a negative light.
Yeah.
It's not for something we're doing, positive. Because there's a lot of things, positive things that black men are doing.
Yeah.
But
That
so
is
what
true.
happened is when you get all these negative, if you get it stamped in you get it on that TV screen enough,
Yeah.
it's gonna get
Yeah.
stamped in your head. You're gonna
Yeah.
create a predetermined thought in your head. Okay, you know what? And then you see somebody different, a more positive black guy.
Yeah.
You know what? And then it comes into what Rod said. He said, oh, you know what? You're not like these other guys. You
Mhm.
different, or you like you're more, you're not a, you're not used to what I'm not. You're not what I'm used to seeing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like, but you can't, you put us in that pitch, categorize us like that. But it's kind of like, why don't you judge us individually and not based on what
Mhm.
you see?
Yeah.
Don't if I walk in the room, don't first thing don't come to your mind is say, hey, how many liquor stores this guy's been robbed?
Right,
Oh, you know
right.
what? After talking to him for 30 minutes, I see he's a really educated guy. He ain't did none of that.
Mhm.
Now, see,
Yeah.
that's come on, Scott. See
I need to
you.
say something. And see, what he really just explained is where people are getting their perspective or reality
Mm.
from a private situation. Meaning, I'm in my house watching television, and that is how I'm learning about these people, as opposed to a social aspect. I'm going out and getting to know them personally.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the
That's
problem.
good. That's good. Yeah, and they
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
and they do
Right.
not do that because they don't want to, because of the perception they already have gotten. Watch this, through the media.
Yeah.
Through the media.
Now
And
let's
we shouldn't have to prove ourselves to anyone,
no, you just
No.
you
but
act
we find ourselves doing that.
right, and we should just, whoever you are, you just act accordingly. Now let's switch gears. Now is there's bias when it comes to finance, to home
Oh, yes,
ownership, purchasing a
indeed.
car, or getting a loan.
Anything with dealing with a loan.
I'm gonna let Dr. Hagler take this one. He gonna start off with this one because I know he wanted to bring up we we talked about how to teach these young kids about money, but and I think it is the parents' to responsibility is if you got kids is to teach them like, hey, first of all, you black, it is gonna be first of all, it's hard to even you just to even try to get a loan just to go to school. Now go
Money
ahead,
should
come
be
on,
a course in school, in
right
high school,
in
not
high
else. It
school.
should be taught
Yes.
in high school. Money and law.
Yes.
Come
Yes.
on, Dr. Hagler, come on, expound. Give us 3 good minutes now.
Oh, okay. Well,
He said it's gonna be tough, huh?
No, I think he can handle it. I think he can handle it.
Nah, he
Hagler
got
act like that was a
20.
woman telling him that. 3 good minutes.
Hey, rough over here. Hey, rough over here on your doctor. I forgot to warn you, Dr. Hadley. It's a rough crowd.
yeah,
man.
yeah.
I love him, man. He's my brother. But come on, Doc. Expound.
Well,
Expound.
let's see. We're gonna come from a general perspective. From a financial, it could be home ownership. It could be, buying a vehicle. It could be, just getting a personal loan. And I think that racial, because that's what it is. It's racial bias.
It is. I
When
don't
it
want to say,
comes,
but it is. Go
it
ahead.
is because you know, because I can say, for instance, I want to buy a home. I got a 750 credit score. Okay, I really believe that there's well, you know what, you hadn't been on your job long enough, or you you know what, 15 years ago, you had a charged off account, you know, but I think it still goes back to, that stamp in that person's head, that loan officer, and said, "Oh, we got us a black man here. Let's start looking to see what he did
Right.
before. Not the
Right.
fact that he got a 750 credit score. He pay all his
Disqualifying.
bills on time. Let's disqualify him early.
Yeah.
Let's see what he
Yeah.
got.
Disqualifying.
And it's not in her face,
Yeah.
but I think, my experience, just about the way questions are, being presented to me or asked to me, I can
Right.
tell that I'm being, a prejudice is being brought against me before we even get to my qualifications.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know, and the thing that's a little bit harder to really put your finger on. You know,
60
gotta
seconds now.
have experience with it. You know, you gotta have experience, you know, with these situations to pick up when you're being, you know, discriminated against or being biased against. But it's there. I just really think you just need that experience to really pick it up, because real quick, if you get somebody who's, you know, young, 20 years old, don't really know a whole much about it, they're qualified, you know, 750 credit score, they want to buy a house, buy a car, you know, what they're gonna say, you know, hey, well, you know, you're not you know, you had a charge
Established.
off. Yeah, established. Well, I got a 750 credit score. They're not realizing that they've already discriminated against you right up front. You're not realizing
Wow.
that,
Right.
you know.
Right. Wow.
But
Come on, Rod T.
Just to expand on what Mr. Hackett said, I do believe that, let's just, what Mr. Hackett and Scratch that he said about teaching literacy in school, and because more than likely, you know, we only got one time to mess up as Black people. If we do, that's going to be used against us if we want to start a business or get a loan or whatever. So I've learned, I've been introduced to starting a business by, like really my ace, my boy Don. You know what I mean? He was at our funeral too, or grandma's funeral too. But like that, and I've learned about investing and money management on YouTube. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know, I wasn't taught that in school.
You weren't even taught. It wasn't even taught.
But I remember when I turned 18, 19, they show was, trying to get me signed up for credit cards. You know what I mean? And I didn't.
To get you in debt.
To get me in debt. You know what I mean?
You didn't just say something. 60 seconds. 60
That's
seconds.
what I want to touch on.
Yeah. And, I guess the last thing is, kind of, a little story. It's kind of different, but I think it's the same about bias. I remember we was going out one time, and or I say this: how many times I've been stopped? I never when I was behind the wheel by cops. That I remember one time I had an afro back in the day when my hair could grow on.
Right, I remember that.
And I remember, and I was riding with a buddy, and we was coming from work, and they when they stopped us, we was in Sugar Land, and when they stopped us, they shine a light on my side because you could see my fro, and
right.
I had to play the fool or whatever. But like, I guess I want to say this: the bias in when you try to tell people that's not Black on how the police interact with us,
right,
as opposed to them, is like, because I had these conversations, and a lot of people not trying to hear because they haven't experienced it themselves. You know what I mean? But it's definitely a whole other level of aggression.
It is.
It is. Really just, I know my time up. You know what I mean?
All right, come on, Scratch Daddy.
3 quick points. Rod T said earlier about forgiving. Why do we, if concerning Black or white, and say, like, if I'm a Black man, why am I more forgiving if a Black person do me something wrong as opposed to a white person? Not only that, they touched on finances as far as he said credit cards. One thing from a personal perspective, and you know it too, student loans.
Oh yeah,
you could have a zero credit score.
Yeah,
you could have a zero. You could have a negative zero credit score if there's such a thing. Yep. They're gonna give you that student loan.
Yeah,
because like you said earlier, they won't get you in debt.
Ooh, but they took my taxes. Go ahead.
From another personal perspective, I'll never forget when my mom and them got a loan. Didn't know it was a predatory loan, where because you're Black, they give you a higher interest rate. I've never understood that in my life. Why you charge a poor person more, and the rich people got the money to pay. You give them a low interest rate. They got the money. But somebody that don't have the money, you're trying to rob them blind.
I never could get that concept at all when it comes.
Well, they say you're higher risk.
How am I a high risk when I don't have the money? And you know that I don't have the money. You ought to be something to give me something that'll fit my budget.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, with that being said, what they said, well, we're not going to give you this because you don't make much money. Well, I want this car. Well, we're not going to do that. Well, some will go ahead and give you that just to get you in debt and give you bad credit or however the case may be. Because let me tell you that what I have found out is because I'm still on bring a race because in a sense of at the end of the day, because you still got some poor whites and poor Hispanics and poor Asians, and you just have them. So I just kind of got this picture in my head, like, and I had to sit back and think about it. I was like, so it's really not about race, not per se, but it's about rich or poor.
Yeah.
So is that bias because I don't make, let's say I don't make 250,000 a year, but I make about 75. But I'm real good with my 75,000 and I'm not in debt. Come on, Dr. Hagler, expound on that.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's an excellent point because I'm gonna give you an example. Okay, like you said that you're gonna get a higher interest rate. As a person who makes minimal income and don't make your income is not up there, so the way I look, and then the person who is in a higher income bracket, of course, better credit score or whatever, they get the lower interest rate.
That don't even make sense, but go ahead.
But check this out. There's no money in giving the rich guy higher interest rate. There's no money in that. But there's money in giving a higher interest rate to the guy who's less fortunate. But if if I get enough of y'all with a high interest rate, I'm gonna make way more money off of y'all than I am with this guy with the money and the lower interest rate. Now check this out. That's the same concept. Okay. Chris Rock said this. I'm gonna quote him. He said, "Cadillac can make a bumper that never falls off, never dents, but it ain't no money in that." Okay, there's no money in that. You can make a cure for AIDS, but there's no money in that. Okay?
Wow.
Okay, so why give the guy with all the money a high interest rate? But he got the money, low interest rate. I'm gonna get it's so I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna get these people who were struggling. I'm gonna give you a high interest rate. I'm gonna get and I know you can't so the money that you do pay me, I'm making hand over fist, and it's gonna be more y'all than this guy or the rich guy. So but I think there's an excellent point about those credit cards. Excellent point. Why that look like it goes opposite almost. So don't give me no credit if that's the case.
Yeah.
You know what? It is okay, we can talk about bias in different areas and definitely one thing the last 15 minutes we have, I do want to bring up this being biased. Is there's bias in the schools in the area, how they serve different areas of school? Now, to me, growing up, of course, I grew up in South Park. Anybody that knows South Park, it wasn't the richest neighborhood, but we consider ourselves suburbs. That's just not inner city, because we wasn't near downtown like in Third Ward or and stuff like that, or First Ward. We just considered was in the suburbs, but compared to other people, they're like, oh man, y'all was low budget. But out the school that I went to, Jesse H. Jones, was a Vanguard school, and we had a mixture of kids there. But what I have noticed is, like today, is when they said, do certain schools get the better equipment for their schools, books, hell, even the classrooms look better, in some cases. For me, it's because I work in Fort Bend, school districts. But however, I mean, I said compared to some other school districts, I'm like, man, it's like that steers bias in in which school district gets the most money to better their kid education, whether it's better teachers or equipment or whatever the case may be. So come on, Rod T. I know you went to Sharpstown.
Yeah.
So tell me how that experience, because we told a different era.
Yeah.
But tell me that era that you was in going to school at Sharpstown.
I can just speak. When I went, the conditions weren't the best. We had I'm not gonna say raggedy, but it wasn't top of the line, state of the art. And this is I went to Sharpstown in the late 90s because I graduated in 99.
We talking about 90 because you were cum laude,
Yeah.
right? Was you? I gotta throw that in.
But I can just speak personally because
Right.
I went to Sharpstown, but when my brother's he about 5 or 6 years younger than me. He went to West Side when it opened up.
Right. That was old out for Bright Forest over at Coastal Memorial.
Man, it was like I had never seen a school like that. So do I think there's bias in the conditions? Oh yeah, because Sharpstown and West Side when it opened up, it was like night and day.
Night and day. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
You are so correct.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Another stratosphere what they had over there. I was like, wow. So
come on, Scratch Daddy.
Yes.
Yeah, because Scratch Daddy, now, his story is a little different because, he out of Louisiana. And look here, man, let me just say this before, hold up, don't say nothing because, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm going to tell you something. Man, look here. This cat here, man, the stuff that he told me, I was like, I had to just literally shake my head. I just couldn't believe that those city officials, as you call them, parish officials, will allow those kids to function and try to learn under those conditions. Come on, Scratch Daddy.
Yeah, man.
Let you tell it.
I guess you could look at it from what direction they're trying to send that group of people in. If it's a bad neighborhood, a poor school, I guess, well, we're going to send them directly into crime. But if it's a private school, and that's one thing I couldn't understand because they had an issue going on. I think we may have talked about it a while back. Some kind of way, this private school, I'm not going to throw their name out there, but they were getting public school funds. Now, how they pulled that off, I don't know.
What?
But it's obvious. Yes, sir.
Nice.
Go with me on it. I'm telling you something I know, not something that I heard.
Oh, my.
Yeah, man.
But they know. You ain't got to say the name. They know.
Louisiana got some of the biggest crooks in the universe. They got super crooks down here.
With capes on.
Yeah, they know how to, they know how to finagle anything.
Oh my.
But yeah. So, I mean, from that perspective, you gotta think about from an individual standpoint. Well, what could I do to break that chain or send my children or child in a different direction than what they're trying to do?
So did y'all ever have, let me ask you this question. Did you ever have where like somebody who stayed on the better side of town, like, hey man, let me use your address so I can send my kid to this school because I don't want my kids to go.
Yeah.
Did y'all ever have, have you ever knew some people like that?
Yeah, they had people doing that.
It sounds like to me that's everywhere, but I was just wanted to, ask that question.
Yeah, that existed. That happened, because it was a better situation for them if they could get them out of that school district and send them to, like, for instance, like from Plaquemine High to White Castle, where a lot of the black students were getting what they call that, like smaller classroom. You know how you have a smaller classroom, the teacher could like focus on the students individually because it's a smaller classroom.
Right.
People were sending their students, their children to White Castle, because of that.
Well, just the name White Castle, but go ahead.
Yeah. So, they a lot of them were graduating and going on to college and becoming very successful.
Right. Come on, Dr. Hagler. What you got to say about that thing with being biased, and is there bias even in the school district?
I think it is bias in school district. I got a couple of points that I like to make. Like for example, okay, my kids as well, they go to school in Fort Bend. Now, why is it that you have a school. Okay, I'll give you another example. School districts have bond programs.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
and that bond program is to put to the benefit of the schools, bring them up to par.
Correct.
And so why is it that you have a school like Ridge Point, not yet Ridge Point, okay?
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, top of the
yeah.
line, cream of the crop, right? But then you got Willow Ridge that still look the same, almost. You know,
Right. I thought they was
okay.
actually renovating that school, but go ahead.
Well,
Oh
think
my
about it
God.
is, why not? Do you have Briargate Elementary School? I think those. Why not? Why are you not updating these schools or replacing them to so everybody in this district,
Now,
if you want set the tone, you
right.
know, and I think I
It,
think go ahead.
I just want to ask you a question. Is it the kids that stay in that neighborhood
You going to my
or
next point. You going to my next point. My
Yeah.
next point.
go ahead, go.
Because the neighborhood that where Woolridge is, the income bracket is much lower than that of in Ridge Point.
Oh,
Okay, so that leads me to my next point. Are these zoning lines are they drawn specifically for that reason to keep
but
them
Yeah.
separated?
they got the bond. If they got the bond money, why they not
Yeah.
spending money on the school?
But
See,
exactly,
this is what I'm not understanding because Lakeview Elementary over there by Sugarland Middle School,
yeah,
they get a whole new school.
right.
Yeah.
And look where it is. Look where it's in, So that's why I think
That's terrible.
hey, we're gonna because we over here. It's almost like every community got their own municipality, their own,
Right.
just little small school district and say, hey, look, Sugarland, we're gonna have the best of schools, or Sienna Plantation, we're gonna have the best of schools, because hey, we have good incomes, we have good
Mhm.
upstanding people, which I think upstanding people is in all communities. And then but
Yeah,
you go
amen.
to what I call old Missouri City, that in their head, hey, they're not expecting anything better. They always
Right.
their income is
Right.
not as high, or
Hmm.
so if we just give them a little renovation, they're gonna be happy, So, but why not go across the board? Why not say, you know what, this is Fort Bend. We're gonna make that school look good as this school across, regardless of if the income bracket is different,
Whatever.
and
Right.
it's just
Correct.
funny how
Correct.
I just funny how these lines are drawn, but I think it's kind of like and then and they're real careful about when you going from a junior high to high school. Oh, and it's designed with that junior high that may be in Missouri City, old Missouri City, is those kids are not going to the new Missouri City,
And who
Sienna
making the
Plantation.
lines? Yeah, who making the zone
Exactly,
line?
who's in the line?
Yeah.
Who
They
doing?
not no. It's kind of like the railroad track. We're not crossing that railroad track. We're not.
Yeah.
Y'all can't come over here. You know. We want to keep. Because of y'all. Are been. Y'all stay over there because y'all are lower bracket. We want to kind of stay with our own.
So
Y'all stay
really
over there.
at the right. So really at the end of the day, this is what it sounds like. When it comes to the bias, is also definitely stronger bias
Mm-hmm.
uh from a money perspective or
Yeah.
economic perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like if you ain't making the top dollars, we look.
Yeah.
No, we and then it's like the school. We not even talking about the people, man. Everybody
Yeah.
get their hustle and grind on, but it's like you're saying taxpayers. It does not matter if I'm in this. If I'm in this county, Fort Bend County, all schools should be built brand new across the board. Why y'all doing little job here and there at the schools that is in kind of not like a high bracket income area,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not giving them a lot of money? Okay, we just said it about someone who makes a lot of money or got a high income bracket, but you give them the lowest interest rate.
Right.
So
Yeah.
why you basically what it looks like what you that some of them, it's like it's being said is that they're in a low income, so it's not going to be looking good. So we just keep it minimal. We're not going to give them the best.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
No.
guess what? When I think when you have the best, you look the best, you begin to act the best.
Mhm.
Come on now. I didn't too much. People kind of dress up, they attitude change. They feel more confident. They feel more sure of themselves. Why not do that for these kids when they come there? They don't want to go into a restroom where you ain't got number one sink working, one toilet is working, and then one air dryer is working. I didn't seen it. I went to some of these schools, especially on that side of town. No, I didn't. I said, Lord, I said, they still, one school I've been to one time, they would still have the dry soap dispenser. I ain't never seen. I said, wow. I'm looking around. I'm looking at this janitors. I'm like, y'all really got this? I said, I just know y'all need to take this down. I'm like, who in charge? Is the principal is not going through and making inventory and getting hold to the board and say, hey, no, y'all need some renovation over here. And we need it done immediately.
You know what? I'm not going to expound on it, but you ever heard of the term, you look good, you feel good?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Same with the school. You have good facilities and good resources. The learning on it's going to be at a much higher level.
Way higher level. I mean, I know this because even you got some of the kids, but you know what? I just believe now. I'm not going to go off subject here because we ain't talking about education. We just saying it look like certain income areas they will show bias to, whether it's
you still on subject. We talking about bias.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's just like with bias. Can you separate that from racism? Can you separate the two?
No, you really can't, because that was one of my on the definitions of being biased is being prejudiced.
Okay.
And, so I just believe. Come on, Ramon, just go ahead.
See, just like what Dr. Hagler was talking about when y'all was talking about the drawing the lines. I mean, I got something I can share with you right quick. Baker, Louisiana, a dealership. They found out that their tax dollar was going into supporting the Baker School District. You know what they did? They closed the dealership down and moved right down the street, so they wouldn't have to be. Yeah, there you go. So that's how deep the racism is.
That's crazy.
Really? But if you from a country standpoint, you could compare the country to a mother. If a mother has children, 6 kids, they all various skin tones, she's still going to want all her children to be successful. That's America's supposed to be the same way.
That's right.
I mean, if you go back to the Boston Tea Party, we know what that was about. No taxation without representation. We pay our fair share of taxes, but the money that they receive from us doesn't get reinvested back into our neighborhood.
Wow.
It goes to uplift
a good point,
other neighborhoods.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm. But from a financial standpoint, if I'm someone that's trying to make money, I want all 3 of y'all.
Yeah. Dr.
Hagler, T, and UT, I want all 3 of y'all to be successful, because if y'all successful, I'm gonna be successful.
Correct.
So why would I be biased and not want one of y'all not to have anything?
Exactly.
Oh, look at here. Man, that sums it up for me there. That closed it down. Hey man, we almost at the 45-minute mark, and man, this been a real good subject to talk about, and the meeting of the great minds and the opinions of Rod T, Scratch Daddy, and of course my good friend Dr. Hagler, that we gonna have his son going. He's gonna be a top D1 player before it's all over with. I'm telling you, y'all got to keep out an eye ear for this young man. That Noah, man, this kid, man, he's phenomenal already, and he just in the 9th grade.
I need an autograph from him, Dr. Hagler.
He's just in the 9th grade, and he's looking at me in my eyes.
Yeah,
and I'm 6'5".
Man,
he's gonna be a beast.
So hey, we wish him just great success, and of course I always say pray for the young folks, and of course my main man Scratch Daddy, we just go back a long way. And we just want to let everybody know, man, we just we trying to keep everything and get everything exposed. And we got some other stuff, and we came up with a good suggestion.
I was about to say, plug the new show, baby. Plug
it, we had talked about it, and we're going to go ahead and try to do something, an extra show. but this one here is going to be food for thought. That's going to be the name of the show, Food for Thought.
Like
It's just fresh ideas, and I think it's another way of looking at it. Because I know a lot of people sits at home and say, you know what, I was just thinking about that. Well, that's what we want to do is give you that food for thought that you've been thinking about, but it have not really manifested out of your mouth. Yeah, and we want to be that entity to do that. So we give us about another month, because we got a lot of stuff, a lot of homework to do, and how we're going to bring it. But that's going to be the name of the new show is called Food for Thought. So, of course, with the meeting of the minds with Scratch Daddy, we came up with that last night. You know, I said, man,
give them a little brief example of what you mean by food for thought.
Well, I mean, just
you can use the one you did last night, because I did not know that.
Come on, remind me, because you know I'm old, man.
Well, it was two things.
Honestly, I'm old. We talked about a lot of stuff.
How, what's the word I'm looking for, T?
Because I'm trying to remember
how companies use the last 4 digits of your social security number to determine your race.
Oh yeah.
That's something people need to know, and we want the public to know that, hey, this is what's being done. Right. Not only that, he informed me that a police officer only trains for 6 months.
Right.
And they give him permission to use deadly force.
Right.
But a hairdresser has to go to school for almost 2 years.
Now, go figure.
Wow.
So
go figure.
Yeah.
And it's if you're going to talk about, and we're going to talk about, of course, police reform and all that other stuff, but I think we're just going to give ideas. So for those who are
for people that might not know these things,
so they just need to know.
It is some food for thought, brother.
But like I said, we got to do our homework. We're going to get it together, because we need to let the people know what's really is going on.
Yeah.
And I just believe, of course, a lot of young folks don't even know. And of course, a lot of the older ones, I say in their 60s and 70s, because their mindset is Jim Crow and all that old stuff, and they got new stuff now, and we don't even know about that they doing that, because information is not out there. So we have to go look for it, Anything you put in the book, what they say, they ain't gonna.
If you want to hide money from a Negro, put it in the book.
I have heard that one. I heard that one.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, you want to hide money from a Negro, put it in the book. Because we don't read.
We don't read,
baby.
And that stigma is. I can't accept that, because man, my dad didn't go for that, man. We had to read, and you know what? And let me just say this before I get off the air. He would tell me, okay, this week we're going to be working on the letter. I just said D. He said, I need you to give me a definition of a word that starts with a D, and I need you to write it in a paragraph. And he would go down A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way to the full alphabet. And I'm like, what? When I got to the X, what can I come up with when you're talking about X? So stuff like that. So when they said, man, no, it's on the parents. We have to push that. We constantly have to push that, especially these days, because questions that I ask kids just before they get off the bus, it's like they don't even know. I'm like, is the school is really teaching y'all something? How do you not know this? But of course, it starts at home. Guys, it's been a blast, and I love you guys. Thank you for joining on the Very Opinionated Show. If you want to subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and we will be gladly to have you on our show sometimes. So peace out, everybody. With your boy J.I.M., with Scratch Daddy and Raw T, and our special guest, my main man, Dr. Hagler. Peace out, y'all.
Y'all be safe, man.
Good.